So, this topic has come up again, and it comes up every few years when something bad happens. This has to come up. What is it? Well, let's talk about it. So, I grew up in the early 90s, and for entertainment in those days, it was, well, go play outside. So, I used to go play football, basketball, or just run around on the street. That was my entertainment. And all I was really exposed to was what's on the outside, what we're doing with my friends, and that was kind of how it was limited down to just that narrow space. That's it. But today it's a bit different. So recently there's been a study that came out again stating that games influence kids and teenagers. So, background for me, I didn't have computer games growing up. I remember the first game console I had. In those days, it was those bulky things that we'd have to buy. And I had actually the first Game Boy. And I think it was a limited edition because the covering of it was a see through covering. I could see right into the little nooks and things that was happening on the inside. And it was cool. And we used to have those little cartridges, remember? And we had to and then put it in. Otherwise, it didn't work. So that was my first console that I got, and I remember playing Pokemon Yellow at that time. It was the first Pokemon game that came out, Pokemon Yellow, and I was able to raise my Pikachu to level 99. I want to be the very best. Yeah, so that's what I felt like. And after that, we are now then looking at when I was maybe 14, 15 years old. I got my second console, which was a Game Boy Advance. Now, I bought that off from a friend, and that device actually became kind of a crutch for me during the one of the darkest moments of my life. Um, my mom passed away when I was 17, and I remember holding on to that Game Boy Advance while the wake, while my mom's body was at home, and I just literally was sitting next to the coffin, and I was playing, I remember either Doom or Metal Gear, and that gave me solace in that moment. uh, I was really affected by my mom's death. So that was how that game helped me through. Moving forward from that, I also later on in life when I had some money, I bought a computer. It was those old bulky computers. I mean, the screen itself it's about this big. I'm talking about fatness, not the screen. Okay, and on those, I actually played Warcraft 1, 2, 3, and Frozen Throne. It served me well for the longest that I had it. We used to have to insert what we used to call a CD into the CD drive of a computer, and we had to install the game, and it takes a while. And those were not really online games. You're just playing it on your computer itself, and that's about it. Now, other than that, my experience with computer games was I used to go to a friend's house, and there we would play Counter Strike. Remember that game? Fire in the hole, things like that. And it was fun because he used to have one computer and about two laptops. So a few of us could play at the same time, and we'd be trash talking each other. Ah, you don't know how to play. Oh, where are you shooting? And things like that. And other than that was not really much. Yeah, he used to have a Sega Genesis, if I'm not mistaken. Imagine how old that is. I just aged myself, didn't I? Yeah. Okay. So we used to play like things like Street Fighter or Capcom or FIFA on it. I was terrible at those games. I used to lose every time. But that was my exposure to the gaming world, as it were. And in those days, it used to be really difficult to be able to go and play games like this. Now, you either have to spend a lot of money to buy your own console, or you have to spend a lot of money to buy your own computer setup, or you'd have to go to what we call cyber cafes in those days. Now, I did used to go to cyber cafes, but I never joined. They used to have what we call a LAN server, and a whole bunch of teenagers we playing Counter Strike. So I was like, okay, this is not my scene, so I'm not playing. But it used to be difficult. Now, when I had my Game Boy Advance, I was playing Pokemon Emerald, and I got stuck many times in the game and I had to go out to buy a book. I think it's somewhere around at the back there. I had to buy a book to read through the gameplay of Pokemon Emerald. That was how much effort I had to put in to actually play the game. Now, fast forward to today. Games are so much more readily accessible to children, to teenagers especially, and the games have evolved. Games in those days were very pixelated. Now, if I just go based on Pokemon Yellow was in black and white, and it used to be those pixel. Pikachu was a whole bunch of pixels. Right now, if you look at the latest Pokemon games, it's so detailed. So games have evolved. And here's the thing, it has evolved to actually capture the audience attention. So the audience feel like they're fully immersed in the game. Now, let's not go around the bush and says that, oh, they're doing this because they love. No. Game producers, game developers, they do it to actually earn money. Now, every one of us knows that, right? They're doing it, you open a business is to earn money. So that's what they're doing. And for them to do that is they have to keep their users on more often for them to earn those big bucks, right? There's a lot of in-game money that you'd have to spend and buy things and buy this and buy that. Now, I've no clue about it because I'm no longer in the gaming things, but they have to spend the money. And the more that they do it, the more money the company earns. Now, would that be bad practice, ethics? Now, well, some people would say yes. If all you think about is money, then you forget about everything else. But that's the thing. Their bottom line is money. So a list came out quite recently and I saw it on Facebook and I saw on a few other pages that I read. A list of games that we shouldn't be allowing our kids and teenagers to play. When I read through the list, before actually I read through the list, I was thinking, you know what, these game developers are getting a bit too much, right? There's a lot of violent games outside there, you chop off this, you cut that, you shoot these, and it's very, very immersive. Kids nowadays, when they play, you notice they're having those big earphones on them, and their eyes will be glued onto the screen the whole time, and they don't realize anything that happens around them because the games are developed like that. And so I was thinking, these game developers are getting a bit too much, right? Because how can kids be playing these kind of games? So I read through the list and then I realized something. These developers have done their job, technically. On the games, it's stated games are for 18 and above. They're not for kids, they're not for teenagers below the age of 18. So how do kids and teenagers get a hold of these games? Well, the most obvious answer is us, parents. Now, there is a lot of games outside there that promote violence. Yes, there's a lot of movies that promote violence. There are songs that promote violence. But the parents are the gatekeepers. We are the ones who has to make sure what our kids or teens in our life are exposed to. We are the gatekeepers. Now, I also saw a lot of parents say, no, my child will not be influenced by all this violence. Yes, they do play all these games, they do watch some of these movies and things, but they're not going to be influenced by all this violence, especially online games. And unfortunately, let me tell you this story. So I heard this from someone that I know. It happened to someone that I know. It was a girl the same age as my daughter. And they were playing this game, Roblox. Now, I have no clue how to play the game. I have no idea what is the elements in that game. But she was playing a game called Roblox. Now, in Roblox, there's actually you do it online, right? And you have a chat option there or something like that. And this girl, she got a message from someone asking her for her picture, her location, And when is she going to be alone at home? And this is a child. I was so happy when I heard that this girl had the smarts to just run to her mom and tell these are the things that is happening. And of course, I'm guessing that game was then banned in that house. Of course, I would have, but it happens a lot out there. We have no idea how many freaky people there are out there who prey on little children like this. So here's the question that I ask everyone, all parents, including myself. Do we know what games our children are playing? Do we know the content of those games? Do we know who they're talking to online? Is it just their classmates? Or is it some random people from goodness knows where? Do we know that or not? Now, if your answer or my answer is going to be, I don't know, or I'm not sure, they're not sharing with us, well, here's the thing. We are actually sending our children out into the ocean without a life jacket where the waves are actually pulling them into deep water and there are sharks circling them. So, what do you think? Do you agree with me that we are the parents, we are the gatekeepers, we are the ones responsible, not some shady game developer that we don't know of? It's our kids. They are our kids, they are our responsibility. If you have any comments about this, please leave them down below. And I like to read all these comments and I want to see what is your point of view. Are we still going to be saying that yes, it's the game developers, they shouldn't be doing this, they shouldn't be putting this out? Or is it us, the parents? Are we the ones who are supposed to be responsible? Thank you everyone for watching. I know this is a bit of a heavy topic, but I think it's something we all need to come together and talk about. As I said again, these kind of topics are not just locally in Malaysia. This is actually for worldwide, something that we need to be talking about. So if you like more topics like this, well, I have one that is just at the bottom here. You can check it out. It's about caning in schools. What do I think about that? And until the next one, please take care of you and your kids. See you soon.